I think we're going to talk a little bit here about our hopes for 2017, what we're excited about. We're, just a couple weeks here into January, so we're all pretty excited about, what few announcements have already been made into the new year. CES just happened. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of other developments coming up, but as far as computer hardware goes, it looks like there's going to be maybe a bit of a shakeup, I think, actually, in the industry. From a development perspective, okay, we're mostly concerned about tools and software, but I think we all get kind of excited about the prospect of new machines, about being able to tinker, take apart,
Well, as far as software development goes, it also opens up the door for possibilities to advance the software side of technology as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The better your hardware is, the more you can push it with software. So, yeah, perfectly balanced.
Right. So, maybe at the most basic level in terms of CPUs, Intel just, released a wave of Kaby Lake processors here.
Scaling too.
Yeah, pretty similar performance to the generation before, pretty similar pricing, a little less power, a little higher speed and, different spots in their lineup, but pretty similar to what they had before.
You think it's going to be enough?
I doubt it. I think people are already kind of falling out of that upgrade cycle with their machines, and it makes it a little boring for us because we want to see people get new machines and try out new PCs and get excited about the new things they can do with their machines. And when your machine does basically the same thing it did last year, or the year before, or the year before that, people just they're not excited about personal computers anymore. It's all about your phone now.
And if you're not going to upgrade your hardware, it's easier to stay with old software as well. Like all new PCs are shipping with Windows 10. But if people don't get excited about this new software, or this new hardware rather, where's the incentive to upgrade?
Yeah. Right.
Especially with, there's been some, I don't want to call it bad press, but some things, revolving around Windows 10 where, with like the privacy concerns and the update cycle, the forced updates, which they're addressing now.
Right.
But I think that's kind of squash people's hopes or any kind of intent that they had to update to the latest software.
Yeah.
And being with a company like Grave City, it's, we're always looking for that next new piece of software. So all of our stuff is updated, ready for Windows 10, like UWP and the Xamarin stuff. So we want people to be on the latest version of the software of Windows, so they can take full advantage of the stuff that we have. So new hardware should drive that, but I think I'm with you. I think Intel kind of is resting on their laurels a bit as far as innovation goes. What more can you do? You have a 14 nanometer process. You can, physically you can't get much smaller than that with silicon. There was I read an article the other day about they're going to be trying different. What are they called? Semiconductors. Yeah, semiconductive metals. So something gallium or something probably. But silicon's like this super abundant resource that is everywhere. But physically, the physical makeup of it, you can't really push that any smaller than 14 nanometers. So Intel's already said that they're looking into other.
Yeah, they have to.
Into other resources.
I think there are two things that are kind of happening. One is, like you said, there's the limits of the science that we know right now. We're starting to kind of butt up against that. There's also just been a lack of competition now, in the PC industry for the better part of a decade. So at least part of the reason I'm excited for the new year is it looks like AMD might finally be at least in the ballpark of competitive again.
I think they're. Yes. I think they've gotten to that plateau. It was a huge jump though. If you think about, what was it, AM3? AM3 Plus was the previous iteration. If you think about the jump from that to the new AM4 platform and the things that they're doing with Ryzen
or the Zen architecture.
It's a huge jump. They totally re-architected all their stuff, and they're on the same die size as Intel now. They're on, it's right there, and I think they're kind of lucky that Intel kind of did what they did, because they're at the same level now.
Yeah, it's given them some
If
time
not
to
further.
catch up. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're still probably a month or two away from any kind of actual physical launch the product, but all the demos that they've given, the way they're answering the questions, the benchmarks they're providing. I mean, it looks like they've got a winner on their hands.
Yeah.
So
That is pretty exciting.
Do you
This
think
year-
they can do it? I think Intel is so embedded. I mean, Apple and now Microsoft.
Mhm.
Right, and I think that's the
So-
tough part for AMD.
Yes, I think we can. Or I think they can. AMD. So one of the things about AMD's new architecture is they're jumping into this market, I think, at a good time. You know what I mean? Because Intel's they've put it out there that 2017, 2018, and beyond, they're shifting their focus more to the data center, to the cloud, to IoT, and focusing a lot less on the consumer market. So I think AMD's coming in at a perfect time with the new architecture.
yeah, I mean, I don't know that they even need to compete at the high end. I mean, as long as they can be competitive through the middle of the market, and really in two dimensions, certainly on price as well as performance, I think it's going to be good for everyone. So, we'll see what the next couple months bring, but it should be pretty exciting, I think, for the PC market in general.
Yeah.
You think Apple will use an AMD processor anytime soon?
Oh, I bet Apple will use their own weird ARM processor before that.
Before, yeah, honestly, they're probably. I guarantee that contract is worth billions of dollars.
That is an interesting thing, though. Apple doesn't really advertise that much about their CPUs and their smartphones, but if you actually look at admittedly synthetic benchmarks, but benchmarks nonetheless, the performance of a lot of the phones are actually kind of nipping at the heels of like the low-end PC market. So, conceivably in another generation or two, they're actually going to be producing smartphones that are, more powerful than some of the low-end Intels out there.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's pressure from that side too, for sure.
And then you have the console market, the gaming console market, which the next gen or the latest gen, or it's basically an AMD APU that's in these systems.
Right.
So with the new architecture, they're also releasing APUs. So I mean, the performance is only going to go up in the next gen consoles as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's other exciting things going on for that too. I mean, there's a lot of, you're talking about APUs, so this idea of bringing more graphics processing power directly into the CPU or very nearby, integrated graphics, on pretty much any modern machine you buy, that actually is an area of improvement over the past couple of years. Like it used to be, you couldn't really do much of anything that involved any 3D rendering on integrated graphics.
Right.
Now it's not great, but it's certainly there. I mean, you can run limited games. I mean, if you need to.
Yeah, the APUs are arguably better from the gaming perspective than the Intel HD graphics. Like the HD 630 is supposed to be good, but I don't think it's quite on the same level. And I don't think it has to be. I mean, Intel, they've always been focused on more the
CPU
enterprise and the high level and the CPU.
Arithmetic related.
And ironically, the advancement of said CPUs and the processes used to create them. So I think that's I'm pretty excited for technology moving into 2017.
Yeah, me too, for sure. What do you think, Troy?
I'm not a gamer, so like that was whatever.
Yeah, so we're definitely all, I guess,
We
out of
also-
the closet gamers now.
I'm also a Mac user, so this is
It's an easy decision. All the way.
No, I don't really have too much that I'm excited about for the most part.
Happy with what you have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, my old 2011 MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. Like, it's been, machines that were produced in like the modern, Core, Intel Core era. Most of those are all still pretty, usable.
Usable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Core 2 Duo that's in your
The Core 2
2011 MacBook
right.
Pro.
Yeah.
It works pretty well.
I mean, for a business-oriented machine, yeah, they're fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them.
Mhm.
So, and I think, you know, AMD, I would hope they have like an entry-level SKU for the Zen architecture, you know, and I would also assume that it's going to be a lot cheaper than Intel's entry-level version. So,
Mhm.
maybe time for Apple to kind of rethink their partnership with Intel. Maybe
We'll see.
I'm calling it
Use
CPUs.
Samsung's.
CPUs.
But yeah.
I'd just be happy to see, you know, a bigger intake of the consumer market with newer PCs. I mean, you know, for us as a company, you know, Microsoft was so excited about UWP the last couple years, and it almost feels like, you know, they're still excited about it, but there's just not, the market didn't quite get there. I mean, people like Windows 10. They do, but they're not really like wholesale going out and buying new Windows 10 machines, and this is more incentive for them.
It has more installs than what had more installs the opening month or whatever than Windows XP, which was literally, and everybody would probably agree with me, the best OS, the best OS upon its release. Other than
It carried the
like Windows 98 or something.
It had the most good feelings, I guess, associated with it release. How about that?
I'll take it.
Okay. Because that's all you're gonna get.
What could happen with UWP this year that would get you and other people excited about it, do you think?
Xamarin?
Yeah, they could focus on mobile
Yeah.
more because
Exactly.
I don't know if that'll happen this year. I mean, there's definitely gonna be, or I would be very surprised if there's not a very heavy convergence between UWP and Xamarin, specifically Xamarin Forms down the line. Because that truly would make for a universal platform.
Isn't there, I think you might have talked about this, you know, at some point in the past with me, but isn't there a way to kind of port UWP apps to the different platforms like iOS and Android?
Yeah, so, okay, so actually, here's another wish for 2017.
Perfect.
I hope that Microsoft streamlines a few of its different projects that it has out there. So what you're talking about was Windows Bridge for
Windows
iOS.
Bridge, yeah, there.
I believe that was Project Islandwood is what they originally advertised that as. There was a second one that was a bridge for Android. But that one actually got killed. The Islandwood's still out there. But it would be nice to see Microsoft just saying, hey, we purchased Xamarin now. This is going to be our platform for everything.
Yeah, so theoretically you'd be able to develop a UWP app, or develop an app, start beginning in UWP, and then you could do the same thing as if you were creating like a Xamarin Forms portable app or something like that, and then port it to all the different platforms.
Right, yeah, I mean, I think ideally, you know, running a UWP app should, you know, produce outputs for all those other platforms. And I think that's something that's possible. It's just Microsoft has to.
Did you use any of the Windows Bridge stuff?
No, I haven't used UWP either.
well,
Would you use it if you had a...
makes a lot of people.
He laughs. I like UWP. I think it's, you know, moving forward from WPF, I think it's logical, but, you know, just starting out with it as your first platform, honestly, I would pick something like Xamarin Forms. You have more options there. You can reach many more devices rather than just, you know, starting out in UWP. Now, if Microsoft were to go ahead and, you know, like as you said, streamline that process and to where you can actually start in UWP, yeah, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, let's hope for their next move. But we'll see. I mean, that's, like I said, that's a wish for 2017 here. So,
I have a wish, but it's not necessarily a wish. It's more like something that's going to happen in 2017 that I'm pretty excited about. And that's the huge push that everybody's putting behind like AI. I am fascinated by artificial intelligence and, you know, augmented reality and things like that, and then tying the two together. So things like HoloLens. Love to see a second iteration of that.
sure. Yeah.
They should probably improve on it because I had the opportunity to play with one of them at Build,
Mhm.
And I was impressed. But it felt, I don't want to say half baked.
Yeah,
Maybe
well,
it was like crispy on the outside and not so much done on the inside. I think that's what I would.
I think VR and AR is still kind of in its infancy here.
Absolutely.
But I would imagine, as many different devices are coming out, as many different ways of reaching consumers as there are, I think it'll start to mature pretty rapidly here. So
I still say we pull our budgets and pick one up for the office, just so we can be sure, of any software updates, we can make sure everybody knows about them.
right.
So yeah, HoloLens, I think it's going to be interesting to see where Microsoft takes that. Because you see companies like Samsung and even Google has that, what's it called?
Card. Well, it used to be called
It used to be
cardboard.
yeah. I have that.
Daydream
It's
is called
just
now.
sitting on my floor. I can bend it however I want and like
You can. Yeah.
just put it on my face.
Just need some lenses.
But
that's
it's
all.
called
Daydream.
Daydream.
VR
Yeah.
viewer.
So there's tons of this stuff coming out.
Yeah, there is.
And Microsoft they don't just have the HoloLens. They also have their own VR setup. It's like a less expensive, not as Microsoft Windowsy VR instead of AR, which is like the HoloLens is augmented reality. You can actually see stuff.
Right. Yeah.
The more VR headset.
I'm curious how VR headsets in general will affect people's eyes. It's how if you wear glasses, for example.
Interesting point. Yeah, it was weird. It's weird that you say that, Drew, because just last night I was looking at my phone and realized that I was holding it dangerously close to my face. Okay, and then
Parents ever tell you?
so I turned it sideways and I put it here, and I'm like, I can't see a thing. I'm like, I said, how do these things work? And I think it's just like wearing a pair of glasses. I'm sure I'd have to take my glasses off,
Mhm.
and you maybe
You're
would
supposed to.
compensate. You maybe would compensate because there's actual lenses in those things.
Mhm.
Did you have to wear it? Or when you wore the HoloLens, did you take your
I could
glasses
keep them
off?
on.
You
I keep them on. Yeah.
Oh, really?
But it was more like they were here, and then the HoloLens sat on my nose above it. So I was kind of walking around like this. Eventually, I ended up taking them off. But you can wear them with a HoloLens, but it's not ideal. They recommend you take them off.
Yeah. Yeah. With the Google, you definitely should take them off with the Daydream viewer.
I would imagine.
Yeah, because I don't think
That
they're gonna
would-
fit that thing.
That would be painful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The pads would be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's an interesting health question.
Yeah,
It is.
The thing popped up in my head when I was a kid. My parents used to say, don't watch TV too close.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Or, and what else,
TV.
what also could be said about that? You're not supposed to watch TV with the lights off because it's not as good for your eyes too.
Well,
so it's twofold here, really. You have this dark thing over your face that's focused on something that's this close to your eyes.
Mhm.
Although I don't think it'll be that bad. You know what I mean? So for me, VR would be something I do occasionally. I'm not going to come to work. I'm not going to walk down the street wearing it on my face. It would be something if I want to watch a movie every now and again, I'll throw it on. So I don't see it as being like a super invasive thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious actually how once people have it, they own it, it's in their homes, like how often they use it, when they use it, what they use it
Right.
for. Because
I
I don't
think-
think anyone knows the answer to that. Actually,
No.
So.
That's that's the most interesting question.
We could gather those metrics and then chart it with FlexChart.
We could.
And then look at the said chart on a
A
HoloLens.
3D chart. Yeah. Yeah, I have the Daydream viewer because I pre-ordered my Pixel, and so I got it for free, and so it's sitting there. And I can tell you, the only time I personally use it is when I got it for the first time, and when somebody enters my home who has never used one before, and they use it for the first time.
I can see that.
Yeah, it feels like a novelty right now, but companies are throwing thousands of dollar resources. It's crazy.
So I think software will eventually catch up with it. And so this is where software plays into this whole equation.
Mhm.
That once you have something meaningful, other than an app where you can look around the room and flick a ball around or something like that.
Mhm.
Once there's something meaningful, be it productivity, gaming, or what have you, like a full-fledged game that you can actually run. I'm sure they have them now, but
Mhm.
regardless. once they have like a selection of these things, I think usage will go up, not necessarily to the point where you see people walking, like I said, walking down the street and doing it, but I don't know. Once software catches up, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, it'll definitely be cool. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm not. I'll put myself out a little bit. I'm still not willing to say it's anything more than a fad, even if it's a very highly invested in fad. So
I think that an opportunity has presented itself here. Okay, since the majority of people are using these VR headsets with their phones, I think this is a good opportunity to make something with Zuni. Okay, maybe like a side scroller. I'm serious, and see how well it does. Christian, we can test on your.
Yeah,
On your day.
I'll bring it in and
stay tuned.
I'm actually. You mentioned AI a little bit back. I think I'm actually more excited about that, just because I think that has more potential for like very deep and subtle ramifications, like throughout the industry. I mean, you were actually researching some of the Microsoft bot stuff for support purposes.
Right, and being perfectly honest, that's one of the best and only uses that I see for it at this point in time in its current state. Microsoft has done an incredible amount of work on cognitive services, bot framework, as like this cohesive thing that you can just pick pieces out of it and put it into a jar, shake it up, and you have a bot. You know what I mean? They made it super easy. When it first got released, when bot framework was first released, and it's still, if I'm not mistaken, it's still in preview or beta. Yeah. So when they first released it, it was pretty bare bones. I mean, you can create a dialogue, 1, 2, 3, and then you had to write all of this stuff around it if you wanted it to do anything other than give you an answer that says hello. You sent it 4 characters or something like that. Now, they've updated the channel emulator, the bot channel emulator, which is really cool. It gives you like a nice JSON view, and you can set up like remote access to your bot through some kind of third-party thing you can get through NPM or something like that. But it's gotten to a point now where I see it as an MVP, a minimum viable product that I can actually take off the shelf, and it's relatively inexpensive. And the fact that Azure has bot services now, where you can say, okay, I've created this bot, and you just throw it at Azure, and Azure's like, cool. And you flip all the flags for like Skype, Kik Messenger, Slack, etc., etc. You can get one up and running, like a basic one that doesn't tie into this like immense, elaborate database in a week. You know what I mean? That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about this. Stay tuned at a future time. I think we kind of discussed this before, but as far as 2017 goes, and from a web perspective, because I've been reading a lot about this, that supposedly is going to be the tech issue of 2017, is AI and machine learning. And there are tons of companies pioneering it, like Microsoft. You just talked about building out a bot framework to build your own bots. And then you have companies like Google and Amazon, and I know we've talked about Airbnb a little bit in our various meetings and things like that, they're not just building bots, they're leveraging machine learning, which used to be something that you had to have a CS degree to even delve into, and we're seeing it being brought more and more to the high level developer or even end user usability standpoint, and it's making all the difference in the way that we build our industry and the way that others are building their industries. You don't have to have someone who is sitting there and trying to crunch numbers that the human mind wasn't really designed to do. You can leverage the best of both worlds with computing and human-like tendencies, and that's what people are trying to do. And I think this year is going to be a big year for that being developed.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Even Microsoft, with things like SQL Server 2016, I just installed the preview. Was it yesterday? I finished it. It took me a while, but I just finished the preview yesterday, and they have our services in there, which right from SQL Server you can you can implement deep learning
Mhm.
in your data, and then you can spit out reports to SSRS or however you want to spit them out.
Mhm.
So you can do it at the data level with with things like with things like you said, and
Mhm.
there's companies sprouting up and startups sprouting out that have machine learning as a SaaS application. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. Oh,
you
yeah.
say, okay, here's what I have, and you send it off to them. They do the processing, be it manually, or whatever have you,
Mhm.
and then you get a response. So it's accessible, I think, is the main thing.
Mhm.
And then just moving throughout 2017, I can't wait to see what people do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.